Greetings, peace, and welcome to the sixth day of Kwanzaa and the sixth principle in the Nguzo Saba, which is Kuumba. So Habari Gani, you know by now when I say Habari Gani, I'm saying what's the news? And your response is whatever the principle is of the day. So the principle today is Kuumba. So Habari Gani. Kuumba, good job. Kuumba. Kuumba means creativity. The official Kwanzaa website further defines Kuumba as to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. So though it is creativity, and typically when we think about creativity, we think about artistic creativity or, just being creative, right? But it's also about finding creative ways to leave our communities better. What did I say? To do as much as we can always to leave our communities more beautiful and beneficial than how we inherited it. One of the things sometimes, and I'm noticing this, I used to hear the old folks say this when I was younger, and now that, I ain't no old folk, but now that I'm older than what I was, right? I have a better understanding. And when you're younger, or your teenage years or your early 20s, and especially if you are someone who is fired up and wants to make change and do all sorts of things in your community, and just very inspired, and you have all of this energy, sometimes what comes with that is a disdain for how your predecessors left the community, or what they, what was passed down to you. So there's often, every generation does this, right? Where the young people say, well, we gonna do things different than the people who came before us, we gonna be better than them, or is this judgment oftentimes, and in reverse, sometimes the older folk are then also judging the young folk. They ain't doing it how we used to do it, right? So if we go back to the first principle, which is umoja, unity, we can find ways to bridge that gap in a better way. But the beautiful thing about today's principle, Kuumba, when it talks about, leaving your community more beautiful and beneficial than how you inherited it, then we should know it's your job to do things better than the people who have come before you. They've done all they can. Right? They did as best as they could with what they had. Now it's time for you to do the best that you can with what you have. That is the purpose. That's the point, to find creative ways to evolve, So it's not about judgment or being upset that now you've got all of these problems that you've got to solve or to fix. It just means it's your time to sit in the driver's seat and to take this thing further, right? And I want to say this here too, because there's this idea, this I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a way of thinking that many of us have adopted, that we're always struggling for something to get better. Now we got to struggle to make things better, as though we have forgotten. Again, if you go back and listen to Ujima, and which was the fourth day, and I spoke on it some other days, that we were born with the seed of greatness. So it's almost like sometimes we are still trying to convince ourselves that we're good, that we're great, and we got to struggle to become great, or to demonstrate that we are great. We great when we walk in a room. Kuji Chaguli, I explained, we great just by how we wear our hair. Even something as simple as our hair is like a cultural revolution, right? So everything we do as Black people, and the seeds that we have, the seeds of greatness that have come from all of the peoples that we have descended from as Black people, or as African people, and even, as many of us Native people on this land. We already have that greatness. It's just a matter of using our Kuumba, our creativity, to find creative ways to just push the ball even further, But if we already understand our greatness, we walk in it. Everything we do is creative. You know what I mean? Everything we do is that divine creative energy. Kuumba, when we talk about creative, being creative or creativity or creation, who has the power to create? God, source of all, right? I'm gonna let that marinate. Moment of just marination. Just let that marinate. So, Kuumba creativity. One of the things I was listening to recently was GoGo music, and I hadn't listened to it in a while. So when I heard it, I was like, oh, shoot! It really took me back. I have family that's from the DMV area, from DC and Maryland, and when I would visit up there, like the radio stations would be on a nonstop go-go loop. I'm like, y'all gonna play something else? And it's like, no, we're not. This is our sound, right? So, so from very young, I was introduced to that sound and grew to appreciate it. And it just made me think, when I was thinking about go-go and even hip hop and jazz, how our music, and even what I talked about yesterday with Sona Jabarte for our NIA principle. I hope you listen to the music I sent you. It's not just music. It is an expression of everything that we are experiencing, going through, loving through, struggling through, feeling in that moment. Yes, when you listen to hip hop, for example, you can hear African sounds. You can hear sounds from Jamaica and the Caribbean. You can hear a little bit of jazz in it. You can hear a little bit of classical, right? And so one might argue, well, hip hop is just, they just took from this and took from that. No, hip hop is it was like chemistry, like alchemy. Like you need the perfect temperature, the perfect timing, the perfect ingredients to create that. Our music is the creation, is a sonic creation of our experiences in that moment. To me, that is so freaking phenomenal, right? Again, we walk in greatness at all times, even when as my colleague, what do you call it? My sister in the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective, Mama Dawn, who is from the Bronx. She has done so much research on and so many talks about the creation of hip hop, and she can do a way better job than me. But she will tell you, it took everything that was happening in New York at that time to create that sound that now 30, 40 years later, it is still like the music that drives the world, right? So understand that your experience in life has within it the seed to create something phenomenal that can leave your community more beautiful and more beneficial than how you received it, right? It's about feeling everything that you experience and creating something beautiful out of it. That is true Kuumba to me. That is Kuumba to me. When I hear hip hop, when I hear go-go, when I hear like the blues, man, even when other people try to do it, and even when they do it, like, okay, yeah, that was pretty good, yeah, I was rocking to that. I know, though, that sound came out of an experience, right? When I think about jazz or the blues, particularly the blues, I know that it came out of an experience being in Mississippi and being in Alabama, being in the deep South, being in those cotton fields, and the sounds that came forth from their souls was so profound that all around the world, people would ask, people such as Muddy Waters, or Robert Johnson, so many people, would go to them and want them to play their music. Why? It's just music. because it was creative music. It was music that came from the soul. It was music that came from a real lived experience, right? So if all they did was hum on a record, that hum came from the soul, right? If all, if you're walking through DC and all you see is some young boys beating on garbage cans, right? You're like, they just beating on garbage cans, but that's go-go, right? That's a rhythm and a sound that is resonating in their soul, that is coming out of a specific experience, right? So when we create, it's much deeper than entertainment, right? Even when we do artwork or, whatever we create is deeper than the product itself. When we create, it is a creation of the soul. When you create, it's a creation of your soul. So use your own experiences, your own story, your own history, your family legacy. Never think that whatever you create is too small. I guess that's what I'm saying. If somebody in a cotton field can create a sound that transforms the world, they could easily say, man, I'm just down here on this, sharecropping land picking cotton. This ain't great, but it is. Because look how many people sampled that greatness and have made millions from sampling the sound of someone picking cotton in the field. Man, let me stop this video because I'm about to just, woo, right? So Kuumba, practice Kuumba. Let Kuumba be your mission, for 2022, to use your experiences to create something so beautiful, Yeah. I'm going to leave it there. Yes. So that is our sixth principle of the day. We got one more. We have Imani. So I invite you to join me for our last principle, Imani, tomorrow. Also in the description box, I have the link to the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective's virtual celebration, which I'm a member of, the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective. I talked about that extensively on the fourth day, on my fourth day video of Ujima. So make sure that you are joining us live every single night on our Facebook page as we celebrate Kwanzaa with our community virtually. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow for Imani. Peace and love.